There's a funny thing about ruling bodies and corruption. Some people think their government is always corrupt in all things, while others happily believe there are too many safeguards for there to be any substantial corruption at all. Of course, in large, fully developed democracies, the truth is usually somewhere in between. And the really interesting part is that corruption usually doesn't actually look like corruption. It looks more like the organic effects of familiarity and bureaucratic inefficiency. In this kind of environment, a pragmatic and smart player in a highly scrutinized industry is going to want to do two things: absolutely avoid doing anything intentionally that could put you on the government's radar, and just in case that accidentally happens anyway, make very sure that your face is a very familiar one in the halls of power. Ready? Let's go. Today, we're going to discuss some of the more stunning details surrounding SBF and FTX's relationship with Washington, more rumors about the incredible centralization at Solana, World Mobile installing more air nodes off Zanzibar, Liqwid getting back the Agora audit and moving closer to launch, and the Cardano Island condo claim. If nobody's ever told you that Washington, D.C. is just Hollywood for people of mediocre attractiveness, or if you're finding value in these videos each weekday, please consider delegating to the Army of Spies stake pool, ticker AOS. Well, guys, it looks like Washington has a bit of a crypto problem. It starts with an S and rhymes with Am Bankman-Fried. Here we can see on Open Secrets, who are the biggest organization donors? We go down the list and we see Soros at the top, of course. Uline is there. And then number 3, FTX, with a gigantic total contribution of 70 million. You can see this is only 10 million less than the second place entity, and it's not a big stretch from where FTX is to where Soros is. FTX is a very, very, very large political contributor. You can see they're bigger than Citadel, they're bigger than Susquehanna, they're bigger than Blackstone, and not by a little bit. They're contributing a lot more than Blackstone. Think about that. Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX are contributing more to political campaigns than Blackstone, more than Oracle, more than Thiel, more than Bloomberg. Of course, political contributions of that magnitude buy you something, and that something is access. Looking at this photo, it's as if the Congresswoman couldn't quite escape the photo, but she didn't want to be touching Sam quite as much as he wanted to be touching her. It looks like she wasn't the only one that Sam got to rub shoulders with. According to this post, it looks like this is the schedule of Gary Gensler, chair of the SEC. And here at 11:30 a.m. on this day, we see a meeting with FTX, the chief executive officer, who of course is Sam, the US president, the general counsel, and finally, Christopher Giancarlo. Who is Christopher Giancarlo? If you've been around crypto for a few years, you'll remember that Christopher Giancarlo used to be chair of the CFTC, the same job that Gary Gensler had before he was an MIT professor, which was before he became chair of the SEC. Looks like Christopher Giancarlo is now back in private practice as an attorney. Speaking of Chair Gensler's previous job as a professor at MIT, someone posted this. Did you know Alameda CEO Caroline, her dad, Glenn Ellison, is the department head of economics at MIT? And prior to getting appointed to the SEC, Gary Gensler was a professor for the practice of global economics and management at MIT. So essentially, Gary, and then handshaking emoji, Glenn. So he's saying that because Caroline's dad was the department head of economics, and Gary Gensler was the professor for the practice of global economics and management in MIT. They must have had some kind of relationship. But if you dig a little bit deeper, you find out that despite the fact that Gary Gensler was the professor for the practice of global economics and management, it was at the MIT Sloan School of Management. So he was under the business school, not necessarily the Department of Economics, despite the fact that the word economics is in the title of his professorship. But at the same time, it's pretty hard to believe that if you're the head of the economics department and the former CFTC chair comes and takes a position at your university and the word economics is in the title, that you're not going to at least know each other. I think it's probably very probable that these two probably know each other, which is pretty remarkable if you think about it. It's looking like it's highly likely the father of the CEO of Alameda knows Gary Gensler. This is along the lines of what I was talking about in the intro when I said that corruption in large developed democracies often doesn't look like corruption. Sometimes it looks a lot more like familiarity and bureaucratic inefficiency. And familiarity is something that is definitely bred by $70 million worth of political contributions and also employing the daughter of your fellow professor at MIT. But it looks like Sam and Caroline may not have just had a coworker relationship. This article sums up a bunch of rumors circulating today. Bankman-Fried's cabal of roommates in the Bahamas ran his crypto empire and dated. The article talks about a luxury penthouse in the Bahamas. That's where 30-year-old Bankman-Fried is roommates with the inner circle who ran his now struggling crypto exchange FTX and trading giant Alameda Research. Many are former coworkers from quantitative trading firm Jane Street. Others he met at MIT, his alma mater. All 10 are, or used to be, paired up in romantic relationships with each other. That includes Alameda CEO Caroline Ellison, whose firm played a central role in the company's collapse and who at times has dated Bankman-Fried, according to people familiar with the matter. That connection between Alameda and FTX seems to be a crucial part of the puzzle, as this article from Reuters sort of puts in print some suspicions that I think everyone has had all along. It says, this May and June, Bankman-Fried's trading firm, Alameda Research, suffered a series of losses from deals, according to 3 people familiar with its operations. These included a $500 million loan agreement with failed crypto lender Voyager Digital. Voyager Digital, of course, filed for bankruptcy protection, seeking to prop up Alameda, which held almost $15 billion in assets. Bankman-Fried transferred at least $4 billion in FTX funds, secured by assets including FTT and shares in Robinhood, the people said. A portion of these FTX funds were customer deposits, 2 of the people said, though Reuters could not determine their value. Then they go on to say, Bankman-Fried did not tell other FTX executives about the move to prop up Alameda, the people said, adding he was afraid that it could leak. I think this is what everybody was sort of suspecting all along, that Alameda probably got into trouble and Sam probably tried to bail them out with some funds from FTX, and maybe those funds were customer deposits. Of course, we're now dealing with the aftermath of all this, and the White House was among the first to jump on this. Here you can see the White House press secretary saying that crypto needs oversight to prevent it from harming regular Americans. Congressman Tom Emmer had a very different reaction. He saw this post from Gary Gensler. Gary Gensler was announcing that he was going to be going on CNBC to discuss recent developments in the crypto markets. Tom Emmer saw this and he posted, interesting, Gary Gensler runs to the media while reports to my office allege he was helping SBF and FTX work on legal loopholes to obtain a regulatory monopoly. We're looking into this. Of course, a big part of the aftermath of all this is going to fall on Solana. I can't vouch for the accuracy of any of this. I haven't verified it, But this is what's indicated by this article. Solana postpones token unlock amid double dip fears. Developers unaffected. Turns out developers unaffected is a very nice euphemism for what they're actually going to tell you happened. So down here, they say Solana's staking lock-in period was supposed to end between November 9th and November 10th. The end would have released 18 million SOL tokens into the market. Considering the recent events with FTX, Solana's connection to FTX, and Solana's connection to FTX, technical analysts said Sol wouldn't be able to handle the sudden increase in supply and expected Sol to double dip. So apparently they postponed the unlock. Postponing the unlock also postponed the anticipated double dip, giving time to Solana developers to unlock and liquidate their Sol tokens from the current price. Of course, this sounds pretty bad. It sounds like what they're indicating is that they postponed the unlock for all of the retail investors, the normal users, which is bad enough all on its own. It sounds like this blockchain is so not decentralized, it's so centralized that there's a group of people out there who can just decide, oh yeah, we're not going to let you unlock when you thought you were going to be able to unlock. We're going to postpone that because of market conditions. That's a very not decentralized blockchain. This is the opposite of decentralization. Even worse, what this article is indicating is that one of the side effects of that was that the Solana developers were able to, I'll use the word front run here. Maybe I'm misunderstanding this whole situation, but it sounds to me a lot like the Solana developers were able to front run all the normal users and liquidate their tokens first. It looks like this poster had the same sort of impression of what was going on here. He said, Solana, what a big scam. People's coins will be suddenly unlocked in 2 days instead of today. Now, after devs were able to unlock their own. A slap in the face for those who believed that altcoins are truly decentralized. What we've got on our hands is an economic, financial, political mess. Anytime you and your friends are being described as a cabal, you know you've screwed up. So what exactly did Sam screw up? Well, in the intro, we said, in the kind of landscape we're talking about with this type of government, you pretty much need to follow 2 rules. And he did the second one unbelievably well. Just in case you accidentally end up under the government's crosshairs, make very sure that your face is a very familiar one in the halls of power. Sam Bankman-Fried did that better than almost anyone on earth. Certainly exponentially better than anyone in crypto has ever done it. Maybe better than anyone will ever do it. He did the mitigation part of this so well. It was the first part he screwed up. The first part was absolutely avoid doing anything intentionally that could put you on the government's radar. And if these reports are all true, if he did take user funds from FTX and push them over to Alameda to save Alameda, that was the idiotic intentional mistake. Again, we don't know if the reports are true, but if he did that, that was the idiotic, prideful, egotistic, intentional mistake. He could have just let Alameda die. If he didn't just let Alameda die, I mean, 3AC, Lunaterra, it was all happening right then. All kinds of entities were dying right then. They were all going under. It wouldn't have been that much shame. If that's what happened, then it could only have been his personal pride that didn't allow Alameda to go under. Unless, and of course we know, if all this is true, then this is probably also true. Maybe Alameda would have been such a big component in the contagion that the aftermath of Alameda being added to that list of entities going down would have been too catastrophic, and he would have done anything to prevent that. That's very possible too. Of course, the right thing to do would have just been to let Alameda die at that point. Certainly not take user funds and bring them over to Alameda. Definitely the wrong decision. But if all these reports are true, then that was for sure the intentional, unforced error that led to the downfall here. In comparison, you look at our ecosystem, Cardano, and it's a very different picture. We're not a bunch of degen traders dominated by entities like FTX and Alameda and these kinds of entities. Cardano is doing exactly what it should be doing on that directive number 2. Through Charles, Cardano is doing a lot of lobbying in Washington. Nothing on the scale of what Sam was doing, of course, but probably doing very good lobbying in Washington through Charles. And on number 1, because we're not a blockchain full of DeFi degens, Cardano, there's no giant entity in Cardano that's going to get pushed into this corner where it ends up having to make these decisions to either add a gigantic node of contagion to the entire ecosystem or to kick that down the road and spread the contagion a little bit, but allow it to remain concealed, for another 6 months or whatever it is. We just don't have those kinds of things going on in our ecosystem. Who knows? Maybe someday we will. But at present, Cardano's not that kind of ecosystem. We're not doing the crazy, risky stuff that could force us to intentionally do things like this that would put us under the crosshairs of Washington. But now that this has happened, who knows? Probably all of crypto is in the crosshairs of Washington, and we'll have to do everything we can just to survive this thing unscathed. Because for sure, those people in Washington who wanted to regulate crypto into the ground, they've got a lot more ammunition now. Counterbalancing all that terrible news, here's a new video just dropped by World Mobile about their expansion of their air nodes to an island off Zanzibar. This is the kind of thing that I think keeps everybody in crypto going. We always have the crazy up and downs of the market, the collapse of entities, blockchains, coins, all these kinds of things. But then in the background in crypto, there's always stuff like this going on that goes back to the original ethos of cryptocurrencies. The whole reason that crypto really exists, that it was so compelling to all of us when we first got into crypto, beyond just the appreciation of the coins, we've always had this promise of decentralization, that it might be able to accomplish things like this, that fishermen on this island might be able to experience some of the benefits of connectivity. These previously unconnected people, they might be able to experience the benefits of connectivity, which are well explained in this video. Go check this out if you're curious what World Mobile has going on right now. We also got a really great update from Liqwid. It looks like Liqwid got back a draft version, at least, of the audit report from Vacuum Labs on their governance module. And Liqwid posted Liqwid V1 coming next. I think a lot of people are very excited for this. And most importantly, one of the things that's always impressed me the most about Liqwid is the fact that they didn't go down that venture capital path. They did their fundraising separately through things like Catalyst. It probably would have been very easy for Liqwid to get a whole bunch of funding from VCs. They didn't go down that road. That's something I've always appreciated about Liqwid. DC, I think the entire Cardano ecosystem probably appreciates that more than you could possibly know. Finally, I'm getting pretty excited. We are inching closer and closer to Cardano Island. Virtua is announcing, condo owners, your time has come. The condo claim portal will officially open Monday, the 14th at 5 p.m. UTC. Get ready to live the high life in your favorite Cardano tower. And we now have some more imagery. This video has imagery of each of the condo towers. Here's one of them. It looks like Virtua is fulfilling one of the most important criteria with Cardano Island, and that's that it has to look cool. Looks like they are definitely filling that criteria, at least according to my taste. I hope everybody else is excited about this too, if you're involved in Cardano Island. Otherwise, I hope you had a great week and that you're getting ready for a nice weekend, and I'll talk to you soon.